So we like the idea of steers becoming working animals, and we love the idea of the history of the American milking Devon. And so we purchased a bull from George Washington's farm at Colonial Williamsburg, and his name was Cinco de Mayo, so he was born on the 5th of May. He has great heritage. You can see he has a very straight back, he has a strong head, he has a great rump, and so I grew up in a stock breeder in Nebraska and very much interested in animals, conformation and so on, especially cattle. So this is different than the East Coast milking Devon. They tend to be much. We were interested in their strength and their conformation, basically. And this is another picture that shows. This is Jesse. We nicknamed our bull Jesse James because both Paul and I went to the University of Missouri, and so this is the bull at 10 years old. This is one of our oxen, one of the oldest oxen, Davy, that you'll see today pulling the wagon. Davy is only 4 years old in this picture. They will grow until they're 8 years old. So he's already bigger than the bull at 4 years old when the bull is finally growing. So that's the reason you castrate and make a steer out of a bull, is to produce a bigger animal, more meat, and that's what basically becomes our steaks and hamburgers and other kinds of things, is the steer of the animal. If the milking Devon, they have three purposes. Their meat is very lean, their milk is high in butterfat content, about 4%, and the steers grow up to be excellent oxen.
Yeah, talk about the colors. That'd be great.
The colors are very typical of Devons, with what we call ruby red. And what we have, they're red on their entire body. They do have white on the end of their tails and white sometimes on their penis area, but the rest of it is ruby red. We don't know how old they are. We have that is the oxen. It's breed as a red animal, but there are red oxen referred to in the Bible, and we think they go back about 4,000 or 5,000 years, but they've disappeared as a species in England, and they were down to just a handful in this country when the American Livestock Breed Conservatory was started, and the first animal that they tried to save were the American milking Devons.
Well, this is Ox Hill Devon's farm. We're in Russell, Pennsylvania. My name is Andrew Van Ord, my daughter Lily, and this is her yearling heifer Annie. And she's been working with her since, well, this is one of her heifers, and she's broke her to work in the yoke.
So what do you like to do with Devons on your farm?
Well, we like to work them in the yoke as a hobby, and I like to breed them. We do rotationally graze the cattle during the summertime. They're moved twice a day, and we're a fairly small farm. We have about 16 acres of pasturable land, and I try to limit how many cattle we winter to 12. Currently we have 16, but 4 of them are actually already sold. So.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what she's doing and how you start out training an animal.
We don't even start out halter breaking them to walk. We just start in driving them. Inevitably you will break them to lead with a rope at the same time when you're breaking them. We typically do start out with a rope halter. She has a little red horn tie on this heifer right now that is just an emergency brake. if you have a rope on them, and if you notice the rope is tucked up so she doesn't have it in her hand, it's so intuitive to use the rope if you have it in your hand. And then it becomes a training aid, and you'll never be able to drive them without a rope. So we like to get a horn tie on them as soon as they're big enough, and get it out of her hand and onto the britchin, and then just use it as an emergency brake just in case something goes wrong. She does have a rope on her. But we start out typically with a rope halter, and just start out driving them. We teach come along and whoa are the first two, and try to focus on those, and then we'll focus on turning right, which is G, and haw is to the left, and back up, and try to teach 1 or 2 commands at a time to focus on them in the beginning. And then we switch to a rope collar so that it's less comfortable for them to resist, I guess, so that they don't pull on the rope near as much, and you can focus on using the whip and guiding them with the goad. And like I said, eventually we get to this point where she doesn't have to have a rope in her hand at all, and just go by voice.
Pete Rainville, pair of Devons, about 1.5 years right now, itchy and scratchy. Just exercising as much as we can to get them ready for next year for some pulling at the fairs.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Hall of Maple Breeze Farm. These are my first pair of steers that I am training. They are 5-month-old Morgan, and he is my near, and my off steer is Logan. I've been working with them since they were a month old. Only a few times we've been in a cart, and so we'll give it a go today and see how it goes. I like to rest them a little bit. It's really hot. They're breathing pretty good. Yes, we've been gone a week, so I haven't worked with the boys, seen the boys at all, and they know it's dinner time in the barn, so they're real troopers to come out here and play. Sure, so I'm pulling a wagon today that John fixed for me. He put in this nice light pole. We're working with just a very light wagon, no weight on it at all, just getting them used to the noise. This was not my first thing that I started with them. It was taking one at a time in the back barn, putting on a halter and just walking around with them and letting them get used to commands. My G is right, my haw is left, and then whoa, that's an important one. And then I took Logan and I had him do the same thing. And after about a week or week and a half to 2 weeks, I guess, of working them individually every single day, then John fixed up a thing because they weren't ready yet for a yoke, but I could put them together so they walked together. So we did that for a couple of weeks in the barn every day, walking together and just reinforcing all the commands and what I wanted them to do and making everything fun. So when it came time for training with a wagon, I think I was just as nervous as the boys were. John said it's time now to put them on a wagon, and my heart skipped many beats. But we practiced first with the boys just walking over the pole when it was just on the ground. And then it has, not sure what you call this to hold it in there, but what do you call that, John?
T-pin.
T-pin. John would bang that as we were walking by, because as you hear, it makes a lot of noise, and I don't want them to freak out and bolt on me or get hurt, especially get hurt. So we practiced with a lot of noise and a lot of going over it, backing up to it, and then settling it in here so that they would feel that weight without asking them to do anything.
This is my team, Simeon and Ruben over there. They're 2 years old, and they use an 8-inch yoke, so they're getting really big.
Did you start them at this size, or have you gone with them since they were little babies?
Yeah, I started working with them the first day they were born.
The first day they were born?
The first week, yeah.
How come so early?
So they would become friendly, and that they would get used to us being around. And so they would get halter trained and easy to work with. I'm gonna pull that cart over there. Ha! Ha, Ruben. Whoa. Whoa is stop for them.
Hi, I'm Eli Doobie, Deep River, Connecticut. That's Bill, that's Tom, and they come from Oak Ledge Farm, right there in Deep River.
I'm John Doobie, Eli's dad. This is something that we've done together over the years. He started when he was 10 years old with a pair of jerseys of all things, but finally ended up with Devons. He's loved, they love him. They've done everything together from pulling rocks out of the woods to going to do demonstrations to teach people at fairs, doing various things. They've gone to the Big E. They've probably been to more states than I have. So, and it's been a good trip the whole time. Something that gets ingrained in you. He's a little older than he was then, and we work a lot. So, but we still keep him around. We use him when we can, and we enjoy it. Thank you.
Abigail, are you just starting this process?
Yeah.
No, put it in this bin over here.
Oh, okay.
So you want to explain to them what their names are and how they act together?
This is Kent and this is Clark.
So, are you a Superman fan? Clark Kent?
What's that?
I said, are you a Superman fan?
Yeah, so for example, with Teamsters and their teams, you don't want the name of the oxen to be a super long name, like Jehoshaphat. Typically, the shorter the better, so that if you say their name crisp and clearly, that brings them to attention. So like Bob and Joe, or Bo and Luke. So these guys' name is Clark and Kent. It's very short, it's brief, and it's very distinctive, so their names don't get confused. So Joe and Bob would be good, Bo and Luke, but Ma and Pa, that wouldn't really be a good name for a pair because it could get switched up, but then you probably wouldn't want to call one Ma because that's a girl name. But
But it also might interfere with G and Ha.
with G and Ha too.
Ah.
So you want their names to be distinctive and clear and separate. So we can bring these guys out. Let me bring the halters on. So typically with working steers, you don't want to use the halters. You want them to learn to respond to your voice and to the goad stick. But since you guys are younger and it's also a safety precaution to have the halters on. Hey, no Kent babies. And yes, we have nickname. Your name's Kent Baby.
These guys are about as old as the pair that Josiah started with.
They are. The similar age to when they were at the fair. Yeah, so this has been a joint venture between me and Abigail. When you're first starting out with a team, you want to have a young pair because they're much easier to work with. And that way they're not too big and they're still a little bit easier to push around if you have to move them to a spot. So Abigail, do you want to do a hard turn? We can walk outside next to that cart and stop, okay?
Ha. Ha. Yep. Yep,